let's get to our psychology behind the headlines. Kristen Holloway thought her husband was falling out of love with her, but it turns out he had early onset dementia. The Daily Mail shares Kristen's journey with her husband Lee, who was diagnosed with frontotemporal dementia in his 30s. From initial confusion and heartbreak to advocating for others, their story shows resilience in the face of this disease. Let's bring in Dr. Marcelline Girlie. So,
Oh.
hi, how common is this?
This is actually very rare, just bringing more now into the light. More people are hearing more about it because we're now having celebrities diagnosed with it,
Mm-hmm.
like Bruce Willis and Wendy Williams just recently.
Yeah.
And it's quite sad because we do have people who think like their husbands are falling out of love with them, or,
Mm-hmm.
people leaving jobs suddenly and very erratic behaviors and life changes when it's actually just what's happening in the brain is a shrinkage of the frontal lobe. And it's such a sad, sad, sad disease.
So what are some of the you mentioned a few of them, the signs though, because when you're at a certain age, you don't think that it's dementia. You'd never think, right? But what are some of the signs? Because some of them sound like depression too.
It can sound like depression because there's a pretty much overhaul of that person's personality. There's been
Okay.
some changes there. The person may become erratic. They may become more manic behavior, doing things that they never did before or have done in the past, or having depression or anxiety, may become even more anxious, very forgetful. And
Okay.
typically with this disorder, it happens younger, right? You heard in the article of a 30-year-old.
Yeah,
So
that's
you'll see
young.
younger, and typically those types of issues would start with a head injury or a growth happening in the brain, but none of that is happening there. There's no changes
Mm.
with any of the growths in the brain or anything like that. But what's actually happening is the fact that that person's frontal lobe is shrinking. There's a loss of nerve connection happening there. Can't remember their names, getting lost going home. There's a lot of memory issues, even remembering their names or their loved ones' names, and how to make a recipe, simple things that you would say, "Oh, that's just an everyday mistake."
Hmm.
Just gets worse over time.
But what's causing this?
It is a nerve a disconnection happening in the frontal brain, and we are now finding out that this may be genetic as well. Some research is calling this a little bit of trauma as well, but more genetic.